Welcome back. I'm glad y'all could be here. It's good to see you. It's wonderful getting into the second half. Siege of the Empire coming right at you. Let's see what the group's been doing to make sure everybody's back.
It's like Morgan Freeman, pretty much.
Yeah.
When I was a kitten, I fought things you dared imagine, such as raccoons.
Or fighting giant rad scorpions with a shotgun.
Time coming, Brian.
Love you too.
But you're not wrong.
Come in.
You're not wrong.
Dog, that was the most affection you've ever gotten.
Indeed. I don't want any more, Brian. You may overload it.
So,
The small container that is my heart.
we come in. Farron, or I should say, sorry. Let me back up. Arkady, you're lost in thought. It's been about.
Hello?
Hello? Are you still there? Hello? Can you hear me?
I stepped away for a second, but I'm back now, yes.
Okay, no problem. It's probably appropriate because I was saying, by the way, everybody can be at full allotment of everything. Just FYI.
Oh.
It's been like
Awesome.
It's been 5 days.
My bruises heal up pretty fast.
Yeah. Arkady, you're lost in thought. Your all-terrain pony is approaching the village of Grimmenhagen. You can see it just down up the river. You can see the large water wheel that is used to mill the grain that is pulled in. And from a distance, you hear your name being called. Arkady! And you see Farron, like almost like next to you, shouting at you, and you kind of like snap out of it. You were obviously lost in thought of your conversation that you had.
Yes.
With Mel.
I imagine he's replayed that in his head several times over the last few days.
Yeah, it's
Farron, it's good to see you well.
Hi, it's good to see you too. I am glad that the politics of the movement of the armies was not too much for you to handle. And you can see, like, he's still probably got some bandages and a nice, like, hefty scar on his shoulder. And he says, I have been able to break away for a moment, but I'm sure that Morella is around here somewhere. And we see...
Farron, where are you?
Yeah. We hear...
Boy, where are you?
The shouting.
John!
And he's like, ha, there she is now. It was good to see you, Arkady.
Oh no, I should speak with her as well.
Oh, good. Anything to keep her attention away from me would be wonderful.
Yes, possibly you should go and handle important business that I have asked you to handle, yes?
And to think, once I saw us together, forever. And he kind of like shivers, visibly. The two of you,
Savage.
I was eating, but yes, savage.
the two of you ride over to Morella. Is anybody else with Morella at this time? Everybody's basically back in Grimmenhagen now. We're reunited.
with
Everybody's
Morella.
here. So Hannibal is also there.
Drop, yo.
Arkady. Pleasure seeing
The
you
heroes
again.
of war look well.
Thank you.
Wow.
And call me a general, because that's what I am.
Yes. Hannibal's tacticians. Tactics proved very useful in our latest battle.
She thinks you're useful. Is high praise.
Well,
Mhm.
he was useful before. He just has more use now. Anyways,
That'd be
Moment
Jim
of
Morella.
silence as Arkady fears the idea of her ever having to have a major political leadership position.
as she looks at you, Arkady, and like maybe realizes that you're like, you demon thought. Did you need something?
Yeah, has been busy few days even for those of us not fighting on the front.
I'm sure it has. You didn't manage to move the army very quickly.
Yeah, yes, is interesting herding this many people. But there are matters I feel we should discuss with both of you, and also he points to Morella. You and I should have talk.
Funny, I was thinking the same thing.
I'm always happy to be a third wheel.
Farron
yes.
whispers under his breath, "You can have her."
So, yes, where is... Let's see. Kree, where is Kree?
Somewhere.
Brilliant insight, thank you.
I'm sure he is
You're
summonable if it is necessary.
Not quite yet, I guess.
Well, I am free now if you wish to have this speak with me.
Yes, that would be best. Perhaps we can gather together a Council of War this evening. Not that there is much for all to be informed of.
Speaking of which, did I get the name of the general or the chick that I talked to from the Kislev army?
Probably.
Because I didn't mention this before because I had to leave for a second. I wanted to kind of been chatting with her and up there with her when we were heading over to what's it called?
Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Kind of getting a situation of how things are going up in Kislev, especially with Norska.
Yep. Give me 1 second.
Sorry, I had to do some shit, so I was kind of away from the computer.
Yeah, I mean her name is obviously Anastasia.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You're
What
saying
else
that
would
like
it-
there was a choice.
So yeah.
Yeah, and she probably introduced herself as Spear Maiden Anastasia.
Right. So I say, do you know a spear maid named Anastasia?
Is a bit broad. Do you have family name, matronym?
Isn't that good enough?
There may in fact be more than one. I know Kislev is sparse compared to Empire, but there are still more than one person per name.
I've yet to meet another Hannibal, so
Hush, Hannibal.
You are interesting exception.
It is obviously Anastasia Ivanov.
all right. Anastasia Ivanov.
You can roll me a history check.
Shout out to Ivan.
Yeah.
Oh.
You do recognize the name. She ranks fairly highly in the contingent of cavalry, or specifically bear riders and bear tamers of Kislev. She, and this is probably why it was confusing at first, because she's not technically a spear maiden any longer, but she maintains the title. She left the Order of Spear Maidens to join and lead the
To be a bear rider.
the bear riders and bear tamers. And probably the reason you know is it was at the specific request of the Ice Queen. Like, it wasn't like the generals were like, this person needs to be promoted. It was the Ice Queen said, you are the new leader of the bear riders.
I mean, becoming a bear tamer and rider is a legitimate reason to leave pretty much any job.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. Especially in Kislev, because you guys worship bears, so.
Indeed.
And even some places outside Kislev.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Like my heart.
Is unexpected. General Ivanova.
Yeah.
Huh.
She came to help out in the battle.
A stroke of good fortune. Where is she?
Didn't need it, but it's appreciated. I don't know. I was Oh, you'll probably see her tonight at this war council.
Yes, of course. You bear the mantle of leadership in unique way, Hannibal.
I bear what?
Yes.
Yep, appropriate.
Well then, Mirella, perhaps if we could find a place to speak comfortably.
Of course.
I'm gonna go continue with my experiment. John, fetch the knives!
Horrifying.
John already has them in his hands.
You're learning. Good. There's hope for you yet.
So you and Marilla find a nice quiet place to speak.
John, this John, he is voluntary assistant, yes?
Who are you
One.
talking to?
Mirella.
Yeah, as they're leaving.
Yeah. She just looks back and she's like, "That boy is lost. We cannot save him."
Yeah. Well, speaking of bearing mantle of leadership, how fare the troops? I can only imagine your attention to their well-being has remained fervent since we last spoke.
Obviously. The battle. Many of Kree's men took the brunt of the losses. Of course, we lost a good deal of our war dogs, but dare I say it, they are only dogs.
I
A
can only
dog's
hope
life is
they were.
much more replaceable compared to a human's. A dog can't wield a sword.
Yes, I am familiar with military applications of dog. I can only hope that their lives were spent for good cause.
Yes, Hannibal's plan used them well. Is the best term that I can use.
Yeah, reassuring. And what of your goals beyond this battle ahead once Mittenheim is retaken?
The question hangs in silence for probably an uncomfortable amount of time
Is it
before she
diplomatic?
looks at you and she's like, "I am unsure."
Really? You have seemed so certain all the time I have known you. You have no lack of direction.
I know my direction. I am just unaware where that direction will lead me now.
Yeah, well, apart from occasional oracle, this is, I think, common condition. Obviously, from perspective of Kislev, we have only polite interest in internal politics of empire. We would certainly not dare to interfere with your own institutions of power. That said, I am somewhat concerned in regards to the sudden, unfortunate and terrible loss of Magnus the Pious, not only due to circumstances, but his replacement. This is a job for
You are
elector.
wondering whether I still wish to be Empress.
Yes, and if so, how you intend to convince elector counts to do so.
Well, I don't.
Really?
No. I believe that after my time spending away from Tableheim and journeying all this way, and and she kind of like gestures with her hands, the numerous fights, battles, atrocities that I've seen, I am at least certain of this. My place is not upon a chair to sit on.
I could not say it better myself.
My place is, I would like to think, is much greater than that.
If I were to hazard guess, I would think your place is on the field of battle, standing between the ravening monsters and innocent bystanders.
Something of the sorts. But I do believe that I am destined for much more than just the throne. Although a title would be so worthy.
Petrov gives no outward sign of how hard he's rolling his eyes in his head, but this is good, this is good.
I actually wish to speak with Cahill about this.
Yes, I think he may have idea of key military position that you might hold once new emperor has been installed. Or perhaps earlier.
She kind of like looks off and she's like, out of context, Jordan, is Farron in the room with us, or is he standing outside?
Well, I doubt you guys are in a room. You're probably like off
in an alley.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah. You're not like, it's a village. Like, this is a proper village. It's not like a small town like Minstag is. So you're basically like all the tents and stuff are outside. So you're probably just like behind a tent or something. Farron is probably standing a little ways away, as to not eavesdrop.
Yeah. She kind of looks in Farron's direction and then looks back at Arcady. She's like, tell me, what do you know of tales of immortality?
And
not the ones
around the world, I should
black
think.
Magic.
Sorry?
Does that revel around black magic?
You speak perhaps of immortality of legend? Or of divinity?
Either.
Yeah. Are tales from around the world to discuss matters of heroes chosen by gods, or well, if not black magic, then various colors of magic which could allow such a thing, but to my knowledge is not widely available. Could certainly do well with it elsewhere. Do you perhaps think you have met someone of this sort?
No, by no means. I was just wondering if there was a way to obtain it. You've heard tales of such as the Fountain of Youth, or...
Certainly, fountains, yes, godly blessings, islands where if you live, you never age, but should you leave, all years catch up with you at once. That is popular one in South.
The biggest one, honestly,
tales,
is Sigmar's hammer. Is believed to be a relic that kept him, that is still technically keeping him alive, somewhere lost in the Lost Lands.
And where do we?
The story.
Quick origin check. Where did he get that?
Yeah. So the story of Sigmar and Sigmar's hammer is that it was forged in the sun, right? And he found it upon the battlefield, and it came down at an appropriate time, and people believe that because there is a like a relic hammer that the Emperor is destined to wield, but it is a mere replica of Sigmar's hammer, And Sigmar, at the end of his reign, went alone across the World's Edge Mountains into the Giant Lands and Lost Lands and was never seen again. But people believe that it kept him alive, and that's how he still lives today.
I can only assume there would be no need for me to tell you of Sigmar's hammer, of course.
Right. A weapon that's said to have kept him alive even today. But, and she, like, scoffs with a small chuckle. She's like, that is a bunch of horse. I don't believe a second of it. However, I was just curious. That's all. Perhaps.
Yes. Note, the priests of Sigmar have been on edge of late. You may wish to avoid interacting with them at all.
I have no interest.
Yes,
But-
is good choice.
It might be what I do next.
Seek immortality.
Or claim it. One or the other. I see no greater glory in staying alive forever. Fighting until I can't.
Yes. Well, is as much as anyone can do. Or is not always field of battle. For you, certainly is where many talents lie, but there are many kinds of glory. You
She kind
know,
of
if
shrugs.
if you are offered this place to lead soldiers of Empire, to protect those weaker than yourself, this is something you want, yes?
I would gladly take it. I would not hesitate to.
Excellent. Then, is no further matter for us to discuss. I need not interfere in decisions of power and appointment by leaders of Empire.
She nods and she's like, if you don't mind, I believe I may have that chat with Cahill now.
Please, take your leave.
Okay.
And, she does the whole probably nudge Farron as she's leaving. Come.
Slaps him in the back of the head. He gives a fleeting save me look over his shoulder at Arcady.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get him out of there before she starts looking for the Fountain of Youth.
Yep.
Damn, college kids playing music next door. They're despicable.
I mean, but is it good music? Because, I mean, that's acceptable.
No, it's not. They're
Okay.
so young. Unlike me, who is a graduate student.
Oh, God. Please no.
Oh no.
Hush, you plebeian.
Please no, not like this.
I got accepted into graduate
So,
school, guys.
I am
forgot to
curious.
mention. Yeah.
I am curious what Kree and Aelin and Hannibal are doing.
Well,
Everybody's reunited. The band is all back together. You have the full allotment of the army at your side. Now, also, I should note, you are technically less than a week's journey down the road to Mindenheim, so you are fairly close to your supposed destination.
what I'm doing, I'm going to go see Aelin to maybe see if she can help work out a way to protect people from these dogs as a healer.
Yeah, totally. So, Aelin, I assume that one of the first things that you do upon reuniting with the rest of the group is to set to figuring out injuries, resetting up the hospital, because, to be fair, Grimmenhagen and probably even Holzbeck are probably pretty good places to think about setting up a more permanent fortifications. So yeah, I think that's where you would find her, Hannibal.
So I approach John in tow.
Yeah, roll me a perception check, Hannibal.
Dane's with me as well. Is it charged? Oh, is it?
It's just a passive, like, notice something about. So I'm not sure that Dane gets a roll here. Yeah, you rolled 20. It's fine. So you begin to notice that some of these men and women that are working in this area are wearing this strange patch on their shoulder. Although it is a little bit different, they in the past 5 days they've had some time to rework the the design. So it looks like a white threaded bird carrying like an olive branch in its beak, flying over like a running river.
It reminds me of Aelin's dove and makes me depressed.
Aww.
Because she is worshipped as a god before.
Well,
I approach her and go, hey, I'm looking for Aelin. Where is she?
So you just approach a random person and ask that?
Yeah, fuck it. I don't know where to find her in this.
Yeah, I mean, they probably.
Would I have any other way?
I mean,
She's gonna
yeah,
be
you could
treating
just
people.
walk around. I'm sure you could find her at some point. You don't have to ask anybody.
I don't have time for that. I'll ask someone.
Yeah, so you ask somebody, where's Aelin? And I think that they kind of like look at you funny and they're like, I'm sorry, who are you looking for?
Aelin, the Shalia priest.
Oh, you're
Yes.
looking for the most divine. I believe last time I saw her, she was in that direction. And they
Wait,
point
what
off
the-
in a direction.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Most divine?
Yes, Her Holiness.
Yeah. That's what she calls herself?
No, she is far too modest. It is what we
Gotcha.
followers call her.
Oh, sure she is. Alright. Thank you.
Yeah, so you head off in the direction that was pointed to you, and you see Aelin hard at work directing people and healing and figuring stuff out.
Hey, Most Divine, how you doing?
she doesn't respond to this because she doesn't think you're talking to her.
Most Divine.
It is the first time you've heard Hannibal's voice in a week.
Aelin.
Oh, yes. Hannibal, hello. Long time no see.
Yeah, long time no see. That's a fucking understatement. So when did you become the Most Divine?
Oh, it's just... so what did you come to speak with me about?
Probably it's no longer Hannibal, it's General Hannibal. Anyways,
It's technically General Solomon.
General Solomon. So, one of the problems we've encountered on the battlefield is there are, the enemy possesses dogs that carry disease.
Yes, go on.
I was hoping to maybe talk to some of the priests of Shalia to develop is a vaccine unheard of?
Well, it probably wouldn't be a vaccine. I think that the correct term here would be some sort of protection against, because diseases like this are not generally natural. It's probably some magic of some sort, right? So you want to find some protection or preventative. I don't think vaccine is the word for it.
Yeah,
Prophylactic.
so I wanted to find a preventative for disease.
That's totally vaccine, by the way.
Yeah, but it's not like something you ingest. It's like
It's
you're looking
like
for
some
Mystical.
It's like how they would
Holy-
call like
yeah.
a preventative for a vaccine, like the ring around the rosy shit. Like,
Yeah, you're looking
Why
for like
people would
some
carry around
holy
poses.
protection against this. Yeah, totally.
they didn't call it a vaccine back then,
Correct.
but it was a
Yeah.
protection.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, well, I can't say I've done it before, but I know that I'd be willing to try.
That's
I think
great.
that I would need to know more about this disease that you say they give off, though, before I attempt anything.
Do we have any of the... I imagine Hannibal, there's no fucking way he would have left without a couple of dog corpses.
The sample?
Well, not only that, but there's probably some men that took some injuries and some dogs still that have the injuries. Like, you can go observe it for yourself, Aelin.
Yeah.
You just probably haven't gotten to that point yet.
So, yeah, let's go. Come on.
So. Alright, yeah. I follow.
Yeah, let's go.
Alright. So you head over, probably to the kennels, right? That's where most of the injuries were taken, and you hear, like, the sad, mournful howling and baying of hounds in pain. And as you're brought to, like, a quarantine kennel, probably, where all these dogs are being kept, because nobody, like, people don't know if it's, like, contagious or what. You see that the hounds appear to be suffering from, like, you would assume that they are suffering, like, just based on their look, from malnutrition. Like, that's kind of the symptoms they are giving. A lot of them are very thin. It looks like their general constitution is lower. A lot of them have, like, labored breathing. It looks like some of their, like, their body's just kind of, like, shutting down under its own weight, almost.
Also, real quick, would some of the dogs have been able to have been saved because I got the kiss of
Yes. I definitely took that into account here. But their treatment was very basic. It was basically like, you know, let's make the right incisions and let's bandage everything up and let's, you know, they assisted the dogs in their own natural healing, basically.
Okay.
It wasn't anything like mystical or magical that healed dogs that were on the brink of death or anything like that. They just kind of made a lot of them have... Mechanically, they gave them advantage on their constitution saves, right? Like, that's what they did to assist. Yeah. It wasn't really like a healing or preventative measure.
So I get what you mean.
Yeah, what do you do, Aelin, when you're
so I think that
scene is set upon you?
Aelin automatically goes into doctor mode, and I think that she can see that you said that they had already kind of done just the basic medicine type.
Yeah, so all the dogs are, like, bandaged and
yeah.
That kind of stuff is going on, but, like, a lot of them are, they're not, also, another thing you note, they're not, like, running fevers or anything like that.
Right, okay, so that would be my next thing that I was going to say, is to just take some vitals and
so
see if it's...
A couple of things, like, again, what I just said, the constitution seems low, labored breathing, low blood pressures, that kind of stuff. General weakness in a lot of them. Some of them can't even, like, stand or hold their own weight.
Yeah, so this specific area of the wound, look like there's anything festering, anything that I could take a sample of?
Roll me a medicine check. Yeah, it's not, like, festering, but I think that what you notice immediately is that these wounds have been bandaged for 5 days now, and it appears that the natural healing of the animals has not kicked in. The blood's not clotting, it's not, like, covering with new layers of skin. If they're, like, have broken bones, they're not setting, like, they're not, you know, there's generally, it appears like their natural healing ability is a little bit lessened. So you can definitely, like, observe this and understand that it's probably something to do with, like, their bloodstream or something like that.
Okay. As Aelin's doing this, she's relaying all these little pieces of information, seemingly to no one, but obviously Hannibal is standing there. She says, well, I could try a few things, see what would work. Based on what they react to, I could probably discern what might help, but we'll see.
I'll help as well. And remember this, and I kind of, like, get real serious about this. No magic. We can't mass produce magic.
Yes, I understand. But, so I think that she would try a couple of things that she learned, like, early on in the field.
Sure.
maybe some things she knows that kind of purge the blood, maybe some herbs, things like that.
Roll me a survival check.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
You know,
So I think that you realize that there was like a back when you were younger. What was her name again? Jesus, I keep forgetting the granny's name that I keep. It's written down here somewhere. Ariel. When you were younger, you fell ill, where you had these kind of symptoms, and you remember Ariel, the old woman who took care, or the young woman at that time who took care of you. You remember her singing you a song of this this herb or this leaf that she used to like place on your head, on your forehead, and you remember it distinctly, probably because it had kind of a sickly sweet smell, and nobody else that came in, like none of the doctors or healers that came in, could figure out what was wrong, but Ariel kind of used this this plant. It's probably called the it's probably called Briarmeld. She used this plant and took the leaf and laid it on your forehead, and within a few days you were feeling well again. And you think that the symptoms are close enough that might help you here. But the problem is still going to be gathering a lot of it. It's not super common.
Sure. So I turn to Hannibal and relay this information. Perhaps you know how to collect it more efficiently?
I have proficiency in herbalism.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be able to kind of make... would I know?
So I think that you know of this, certainly. You know of this plant, but you didn't know that it had these particular poproperties.
John! I turn and he appears from the shadows behind
Oh
me.
no, we're done.
Yeah.
Can we make him just a rogue now?
Sure.
I want my own rogue.
Yeah. No, he's an arcane trickster, obviously.
Yeah, so I go, send people to get Briarleaf immediately.
He's like, yes. Yeah. He's like, yes, right away. I will contact all of the scouts that I can.
All right.
Yes, my master.
Dane sends you Dane starts speaking to you, Hannibal. He goes, Master,
I throw my finger up to my head.
were you aware that there are men who are in the accompaniment of the priestess? I did not know if you were aware of them. You did not acknowledge their presence.
Where are they? I'd look around.
So you turn around. You can see there are 3 guardsmen now with you. One of them is of the royal variety. It's like you recognize it immediately as one of Cahill's bodyguards. And
What the fuck are you here for?
2 of them are kind of random guards, but you see that painted on their shoulder pads is that same symbol. And you didn't notice them before, but they've kind of just been shadowing the 2 of you the whole time.
Okay, can I know him as Cahill bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
I look at him, I go, fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, he kind of like looks at you and he says, I am simply following orders. What are you doing here?
What the fuck kind of stupid ass question is that? You not see what I'm doing?
He kind of just like shrugs. I think he says, he's like, and besides, I'm not here for you.
I didn't think you were, but thank you.
He's back to filing his nails.
Yeah, and the whole time Aylin's completely ignoring this conversation and just like easing the pain of the dog.
Yeah.
Would I know if that particular leaf is rare of any kind?
It's uncommon. I would classify it as, it's not like you're gonna find one plant, but it's gonna take maybe some scouting and some effort to find.
In that case, can I try to figure out, using my herbalism, a way to mass produce it? Like maybe use workaround, like maybe not actually use the leaf, but
you have a spell that can grow things, don't you?
I do, plant growth.
Well, it seems like if you maybe cast that on a plant.
Fuck yeah, bring me a plant.
Well, I mean, they have to go find one first, but yes, you have a method in which you could mass produce that and
John
help
is
out.
trying.
Yes, my master.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then, in the meantime, I'm gonna go out, seek out, try to help some of these dogs as well.
Okay, so
They
you and Aelin set about to healing the dogs, or at least getting them prepared to heal.
I think that while we were doing that one last thing, Aelin would turn at some point to you, Hannibal, and say, "You are good with those things arcane, yes?"
That is correct. I am, after all, the known master of magic.
Yes, of course. What do you make of this? And I hand him the top.
Yep.
Well, I reckon it's mine now.
A simple wooden top, although notably, Hannibal, when you grab it, it balances straight up, no matter which way you turn.
Okay, immediately. Gonna do a whole load of this. Shablam.
Mm-hmm. So you use detect magic, and this thing, it shines brightly to you. It is of. Let me get you the type of magic here real quick.
I'm gonna best divination.
Correct. That is correct. It is divination magic.
And what I know, I know as a player that's more common in divine magic.
I mean, yeah, certainly your scry spell is divination magic, and it's not divine, right? So, but yeah, I think that you can pretty well recollect that this is probably a divine device of some sort.
Can I say, before I try anything, does it blow up? And if so, we should probably get out of here, because I'm going to blow it up.
Not to my knowledge, but why would you need to blow it up, Hannibal?
Moving on. And then I'm going to try to examine it some more.
Okay. What do you want to examine about it?
First off, I'm gonna knock it down a little bit. Do I have anything? Does it have any writing on it?
It does not. Specifically does not. I guess one thing I should note about it though is it looks like a dreidel, right? Like if you've ever seen a dreidel with like the four square sides.
I'm from Arkansas, so yes, I've seen a dreidel.
I don't know what the correlation is there, but okay. Each side is painted a different color, but it's so old and worn it's hard to see. But one side is painted like a bluish, one side is painted a yellowish, one side is painted a reddish, and one side is painted a greenish. But again, it's like so faded and ingrained in the wood that it just basically looks like wood unless you look at like the very edges and the corners of the item.
What is this supposed to do?
Well, I only know very little about it. It is supposed to spin when it is in the presence of some very powerful divine being.
There's many different things that are divine. Can you be more specific?
Unfortunately, no. That is about all I am aware.
So then, I examined some more. Can I make a history check to see if I've ever heard anything like this?
Sure. Yeah, totally.
Using Tides of Chaos.
Sure.
Start to chaos.
I mean, certainly there are magical detection devices. Absolutely. I don't think it's that uncommon, even. Generally, I think you know that they are made by individuals who are perhaps paranoid of whatever they're trying to detect. Or it is used as a searching tool. Different devices. Like, for example, if you're trying to find water in the desert, you may enchant something with divination magic to locate water. If you're trying to know when somebody's casting magic outside, you might have like a device that buzzes or dings in your pocket when somebody is casting magic in your vicinity. So it's not uncommon. Specifically, like, being notified when types of entities are around is also not truly uncommon. But there are different levels of what they do. For example, if this detected every divine being around, or every divine source of magic around, every time Aelin used a spell, it would start spinning. This is very clear in her. Well, and she's casted spells like around it, probably within this time frame, right? And it hasn't done anything. This is very clearly a very specifically tuned device.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to say this: has it ever spun, then?
I've seen it spin but one time. Yes.
When was this?
5 days ago?
That's really helpful, thank you.
Well?
What was happening?
It was during the battle. Some entity showed up. It's really all I know.
It's at this point Hannibal remembers his teleportation theory.
Yeah, sure.
And realizes, shit, that might have some more credibility now. Because if something was divine enough...
It might also interest you to know where I got it from, no?
Oh, sure, yeah. Shoot.
Mal gave it to me. Rather abruptly.
And now you say Mel.
Yes.
Who?
You know who Mel is.
No, I know. Hannibal is no doubt forgotten.
With us.
Oh, okay.
And then I think Aelin begins to he's being facetious. I think that she'd probably start explaining about this tall, brown hair, etc., etc.
Oh, the chick who didn't do anything. Yeah.
Oh, she's been doing so many things, though, Hannibal.
Yeah, I know. Again, I know. Hannibal doesn't know or care.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So she gave you this. I have a couple friends in the magic circle. If you'd like to take it to them, and I hand it back to her.
Yes, maybe at a time where there's less going on.
Possibly. In the meantime, though, I will say this about it. Somebody either really wanted to meet or really wanted to avoid the divine.
Yes, it does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, and right now, you want to avoid it. So make sure to tell everybody when that thing's spinning.
Aelin just nods.
Yeah, totally. So I think the only person we haven't really checked in with is Kree.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm actually trying to consolidate my forces. It's a lot harder when you go from having 800 or so lizardmen to having what is it now, 300? 400?
Yeah, you're probably a little over half of your entire force that you set out with.
Yeah, so I'm just guessing. I probably lost a lot of my leadership there, and so now more than ever, I'm actually trying to get with human leadership and just human platoons and battalions and so on and so forth, and try and mishmash my forces.
Yeah.
I can't do too much in the whole political game. I'm not really there. That's not really my thing. So I'm gonna try and.
Surprisingly, you have more influence than you think, though. I think that there are very many people who see you as an ally, and your voice, I think, would be louder than maybe even Kree expects it to be. And I think that while you're doing all this, you find yourself being asked these questions that aren't related to what you're doing. Like, for example, what's her name? Lady Luftberg. She probably, like, comes up to you at some point and says, asks your advice of how to deal with, this situation. And, maybe you give her, like, a simple answer, and she nods and takes your advice and leaves, and you're like, oh, that was weird. And then maybe Lady Schwinn also comes up to you, and says to you, she's like, yes, Kree, or General Kree, I'm not sure what your title is, but perhaps you can help me with a, if I may have a moment of your time.
Of course. And I tell my men, just hold on a minute, I'll be back.
I'm currently dealing with this situation here. We have this influx of desires, let's call them. People are wanting more of she probably refers, like, food, like rations. She's like, but I've done the calculations, and we should really keep some in reserve, just in case we are forced to maintain this campaign for much longer. Don't you think?
Yes, but morale is just important as length of the campaign. If their morale is down from bad rations, they're not going to do well in each fight.
I see. So, what do you suggest? Should I give them what they desire, or should we continue to keep them in reserve? We may not have many towns between here and Mindenheim.
I would say temper them. Give them a few more days without it, and then don't give them everything they desire. Just give them a little bit. Give them a little extra one day, and they might appreciate it.
Yes, I understand. A compromise it will be. Thank you, General. And she nods and goes about her business. And again, maybe you just, like, shake your head and, like, that's strange. What are they coming to me for? But it happens more and more. And these human leaders, this leadership, these lieutenants are coming to you, and you find yourself at the head of this kind of at this strange crossroads of, you're not a soldier anymore. You're very clearly, like, a commander now, and you're getting, your advice is causing reactions, both good and bad, throughout the entire encampment. And people are taking notice of that.
Definitely weird.
Yeah. So.
It's kind of off-putting to Kree, honestly. He's not used to it, especially from humans. So, it's off-putting. Almost.
Yeah, and I think that you note that they are treating you with the same, if not more, respect than their own leadership at times. In particular, ones who have been in battle with you versus ones who have not, versus leaders that haven't been in the battles and you that has. You're, like it or not, your antics on the battlefield have put you in a different class than a lot of other people. So much so that I think you are personally invited to the War Council, the meeting of the minds tonight. that is scheduled to have kind of everybody in attendance, which all 6 of you are invited to this thing. So, but we don't have to start there. I think, Morella, you wanted to speak with Cahill first.
Yes.
He's not hard to find. I think he has finally changed out of his disgusting armor and bathed and putting on a change of clothes at least. And you probably find him like kind of going down the line of men and women who fought in the previous battle, and like hearing their stories and like speaking with the lieutenants and the generals and giving thanks to those who are there, consoling those who are not, etc., etc. So you and Farron find him there, and he probably sees you, and he says to you, he's like, "Ah, the Lady Fairheart, I heard that you performed admirably in your place in the battle."
Yes, as is what I do best. What is Cahill's full name?
It is Lord Anthony Cahill.
He has no middle name?
Not one that would be public if there even was a middle name, I don't think.
Okay.
But it's probably William. Let's just say it's William. Anthony William Cahill.
That's the name they use to curse you.
It's true.
She probably says, "I need to speak with you. Alone, Anthony."
You call him Anthony?
Yes.
I think that he kind of like, there's a flash where he's like, huh, okay. He's like, nobody calls me Anthony, but he's like, okay, I'll see where this goes. But there is a tension there, I think, when you say that. And so kind of without word, he kind of like beckons for you to join him off to the side a little bit. And when he gets over there, he kind of probably crosses his arms and says, "Yes, what can I do for you?"
As he's like heading off, before Morella walks away, she looks at Farron and she says, "Wait here."
Your wish is my command, lady.
Heal.
No.
Sit.
Sit.
Good
Yeah,
boy.
And she then like follows Cahill.
Mm-hmm. He probably leads you into like his tent, right?
Yeah.
It's probably not far from it.
Yeah.
And so he probably walks over and like has a bottle of wine, right? And he's like, "Would you take some wine, Lady Fairheart?"
She looks at it and then she's like, "I don't think right now."
Very well. And he
Tell me.
pops the cork off and pours himself and sets the extra goblet on the table and takes a drink, and he says, "Yes."
What are your plans after Middenheim?
I think he kind of smiles and he says, "Well, I have many plans in place, not least among them reinstating Middenheim to its former glory, finding the White Wolf, or having a new leader appointed. I think that the stability of the Empire is of utmost precedent. Wouldn't you agree?"
Yes, I do.